Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As introduced, my name is Deepak Bakchandani and I represent CMS Infosystems here. The last session which I just sat through was fairly interesting and I realized the digital transformation activity. But what you all must have realized, we talked predominantly technologies and the digital transformation, what it can do for addressing the customer experience, risk mitigation, and even enhancing and probably speeding up the lending processes and so on and so forth. This was more customer centric and customer focused. What I'm going to talk about in the next 10 minutes or so is more to do with looking inwards. From outwards, we'll come and look inwards as to what is the technology that we can deploy within the systems to enhance and increase either security, prevent thefts, at the same time have some enhanced business efficiency. So quickly getting started with my agenda, I have a few slides over the next 10 minutes. I'm going to discuss some of the key challenges which we face and the possible solutions and how to mitigate these. When you look at any business, why just NBFCs, some of these challenges are very common and very unique across various segments. The need for round-the-clock surveillance, the deployment of human guards and monitoring and managing manpower. If the business demands vehicles, then the management or monitoring of valuables and goods being transported through the vehicles. Again, when I am monitoring all this, typically the infrastructure that we have is very post-facto analysis kind. Typical infrastructure of security and surveillance comprises of a few cameras and an NVR which records the data. And as and when there is an episode or an incident, all we have is a recording to look back to, go back in the time and just see it. There's nothing that we can do about it, or there's nothing that we are getting in real time to be able to act upon. So how do we get real-time analysis at the same time real-time alerts to be able to mitigate some of these challenges? Lastly, if we have our eyes at the infrastructure in the form of cameras, can we get some more business insights or intelligence, or is it just that the footage is there which we will see in a post-facto kind of a mode? Can we get some analytics like which can enhance and increase the efficiency of my business model? Just a simple case could be in a retail outlet, can I see the number of people walking in? A very simple example. Other could be, is my infrastructure of CCTV and cameras and NVRs functioning all the time? The typical case is whenever there's an incident, you go back and try to recover the footage, only to realize the camera was not working on that particular day. So these are some of the challenges which we all are aware of, have dealt with and seen from time to time. Let's see what we can do to mitigate some of these. Elevating your security surveillance infrastructure using IoT, that is Internet of Things, and artificial intelligence, a lethal combination of two state-of-the-art latest technologies, can actually change the game. Not only in terms of the enhanced productivity, efficiency, the inputs that you get, but also in terms of lowering the costs significantly. This can actually enable you to detect the threats in time on real-time basis and prevent them, thereby saving costs and pilferages. The logical outcome of being able to get some of these business analytics and intelligence will nothing but drive the efficiency of the system. You'll be able to address the customer experience in a much better manner if you knew what he was looking for. And lastly, does this warrant a forklift upgrade of my system which is existing? Does that mean that whatever I have to scrap and then invest into a full-fledged new infrastructure? The answer is, there are technologies available today and we very proudly call it as VSaaS, Video Surveillance as a Service, where we can do a brownfield integration. The existing infrastructure of cameras, NVRs, and other associated devices can be as it is, irrespective of the type or the age of the equipment. And we can take the data from them to be able to work in real time and give you all the benefits of an artificial intelligence or an IoT-based solution. Typically, this kind of solution just comprises of three parts. One is the infrastructure which is already deployed at the remote site, or in case of a new greenfield project, that infrastructure will have to be deployed. This infrastructure will send all the alerts and signals and will be addressed by a software platform. The software platform is the intelligent brain behind this, which interprets all these alerts and brings them into an actionable state. where one can actually take the corrective action in real time. And lastly, the real-time action is taken from a 24/7 monitoring center, which is a command and control center, which enables around-the-clock monitoring of all these assets in spite of absence of any human guarding it at that point and that place. What does this kind of a solution and technology enable you? It gives you real-time alerts. It helps you monitor the setup, whether it's a site or an office or a warehouse or any establishment as big as an airport in real time at 24/7 basis. It also comes across with along with a mobility-based monitoring. That is, you have an app-based monitoring either on an Android or an iOS phone. There are a lot of use cases, especially in banking, where there is a need to store these footages or the sensitive alerts on a backup mode on a cloud, which can be retrieved even at a later date and may be stored for a period of 30, 60, 90 or as long as sometimes a year. So cloud-based backup. Energy efficiency management, these kind of IoT-based devices are in a position to control the ACs and signages. What is the need of a signage to be on during the daytime when there is enough of sunlight? So can we control the signage electricity to be able to consume the electricity only when it is required? Or if it is winters, why do we have ACs on throughout the day? Business analytics, I've spoken enough about it, but I have a few use cases that will tell you how these analytics are being done in some of the established organizations. And lastly, it will help you leverage your existing infrastructure. You have a new setup, new branch office coming up, we'll set it afresh. But if there's an existing one and all these features are required, we can very well integrate on the existing infrastructure which is deployed there. Just a few use cases which we have already deployed and are functional as we talk. A leading gold loan player, you would realize a gold loan company typically dealing in a situation where every customer is either giving gold and taking money or returning money and taking gold, which warrants the person in the branch to access the gold vault every now and then. Access to gold vault is a very tricky and a very sensitive and a privilege-based access that one has. And we have deployed a system which not only does the facial recognition, but also checks the presence of a security guard, tailgating is not happening in some of these cases, and combined take a decision and issue an OTP which can help them access a gold vault. All this is done through cameras and no physical intervention using AI to its peak. One of the insurance provider in close to 200 branches of its rollout is actually using the data of overcrowding and trying to gauge when is the rush maximum in the branch in terms of people coming for loans and insurances and stuff like that. And also on what time of the month, and accordingly the staffing is done or the space augmentation issues looked at. In case of a leading vehicle finance service provider, we are only monitoring the health of the infrastructure. So at any point in time, the various CCTV cameras or the NVR storage devices are monitored, and if there's a failure of any, the stream, we are in a position to analyze and understand that particular camera or particular outlet is not working, and we will immediately send details to the service provider to be able to correct it at that point in time, which basically gives you a 24/7 uptime of the infrastructure. As I said, many times when you go and look back at the footages, you realize the footage is not there because the camera was not working on a day. So prevent this kind of scenario. It's a very common practice to do something called as RHMS, Remote Health Monitoring System services. So remote health monitoring services just helps you monitor the health of the infrastructure if it is working or not all along. This is a solution which we have for various NBFCs as well as more so various different market segments. And this solution is brought to you, as I said, I'm representing CMS from CMS. I'm just having one slide to just give you an idea what kind of company we are. CMS is a listed entity on the Bombay Stock Exchange as well as National Stock Exchange. We have more than 14 odd years of experience in dabbling with this market to do with cash logistics, banking, NBFCs, and so on and so forth. Today, we should be in a vicinity of close to 2,000 crores as the revenue size, and we address close to 1.24 lakh ATMs as well as retail cash points. Our e-surveillance solution is working on close to 22,000 sites, out of which a lot of them are through banking and non-banking finance company establishments. We have more than 5.5 million devices under our surveillance or connected on our IoT platforms, which we are monitoring from a central command and control center out of Mahape in Navi Mumbai. And lastly, in this space of AIoT-based remote monitoring system, as well as in cash logistics, CMS is very clearly the #1 company in the country today. That's all from my side. Thank you so much. Happy to answer any questions before we wind up. Yes, please. Can we have the mic, please? Sorry. A bit, yeah. The backend software. So we can go out in detail about it, but we have a booth out there where the software is even being demonstrated and the way we are handling. So backend software basically is a software which helps the command and control executives to get the alerts in real time, and based on the alerts, we are able to do several actions. We can do a two-way communication to the branch and tell a person. For example, in ATMs, we detect the helmet through AI, and then we do a two-way communication to tell them that they should remove their helmet or a mask from the face. So that is the software enables you to do all those things, whether do a two-way communication, whether flag off an alert, whether download the footage, right? At the same time, the software which is deployed at the back end boasts of a very unique capability called RPA, Robotic Process Automation. So we ensure that we deploy robos which manage these alerts which are of mundane nature. Because a lot of these alerts, I'll give you a simple example. In a bank ATM, any person entering after 10 o'clock till 6 in the morning, we must get an alert. He may be a genuine customer walking in, withdrawing cash and leaving out. But my person sitting at the command center has to see him that he is doing that. He can't just, without an alert, he can't go. During the daytime, he can do that. There's no alert generated. So these kind of alerts, which are of mundane nature, are handled through robos. So we deploy robotic process automation to be able to handle those. And hence, what we do is we dispose of these alerts much faster, and there is very little queuing.
What I'm trying to understand is, if I want to train my own model along with whatever capabilities you have created in terms of the backend software.
Sure.
So whether I can add on to like Gettier API, add on my.
I was about to say that. Very true. We can do an API-based integration, and we have done for several companies where we have integrated. In fact, CMS's own cash vans, we have done the integration of our GPS of the vans with the surveillance monitoring system in the vans. So yeah, such integrations are done very regularly.
Fine,
that should be possible.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I guess that's fine. Thank you so much. Before I just sign off, I'll take about 30 seconds to 45 seconds of your time. We have a small video about CMS remote monitoring services, which we'll play to kind of just summarize whatever I've spoken about till now. Thank you.
With the evolution of advanced remote monitoring system, while addressing your surveillance concerns, you can now add a new dimension to your business through artificial intelligence. Welcome to the world of future-ready remote monitoring by CMS, powered by AIoT and RPA platform. Capture customer journey, footfall, track in-store customer activities, identify patterns and trends, queue management and energy consumption. With 40+ deep learning artificial intelligence modules, get store statistics, IL analytics, conduct health and safety audits, detect missing objects, and much more. Through 500,000 connected devices, we secure more than 20,000 business commerce sites across India. Leverage the power of future-ready remote monitoring and never miss an insight. We are CMS and we connect commerce.
Fantastic.